Hey, good morning. Welcome to week number 3, Morning Momentum. Today, we begin the week talking about small steps. I can't wait to share with you. Go grab some coffee. Let's get started. Good morning. I wonder if this sounds familiar. The alarm sounds early in the morning. You slowly roll over to hit that snooze button maybe for the 5th or 6th time. Out of instinct, you grab your phone and you begin to scroll through your Twitter, your Facebook feeds just to make sure that you haven't missed anything. At least that's what you tell yourself. Before you know it, you're rushing to the shower, you're grabbing a cereal bar, you're throwing on some clothes, you're yelling at the kids to put on their clothes, get their lunches together, and off you go to take them to school and then on to work. When you finally arrive at your desk, you skim over the same emails that have been in your inbox for days, but you haven't addressed yet. Maybe you upload a picture to Instagram, you scroll through the latest news, and before you know it, an hour is gone and you have consumed more information than most people had access to over a few days' time a generation ago. Combine the 24/7 connection with the demands on our time from friends, family, job, church, and so on. The result, overwhelmed and anxious. No wonder a recent Barna study found over half of men and women felt physically or mentally overwhelmed in the last 30 days. People get up each morning saying to themselves, surely this isn't the life that God intended for me to have. If you've been there or maybe you're there right now, I want to offer some thoughts this morning that may help you. I love the words of Paul in Philippians chapter 4, verses 6 and 7 when he says, don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all that He has done. Then you will experience God's peace, which exceeds anything that you and I can understand. I love this because what Paul is addressing is, first of all, we all need to pray first. Before Facebook, before the news feed, before Instagram, before email, pray first. View your day through the lens or filter of prayer. This is vital. Prayer changes things. Prayer changes people. Prayer changes me. One of the beautiful byproducts of prayer is inner peace, even when we're surrounded by chaos. Now, prayer does not necessarily lessen the workload. It doesn't allow us to escape tough decisions, but it does give us wisdom, courage, and strength to meet the challenges of our day. The second thing, I'll briefly suggest that you take a step back and gain a proper perspective on the goal or the situation that is in front of you. Sometimes we are overcome and overwhelmed by the details and decisions, and we lose proper perspective. Perhaps the first step for you to take is a step back and review the big picture. Thirdly, identify your priorities. All of us wrestle with the expectation to say yes to everything. Every task and request seems important. Everything that comes across our desk seems important. However, once you take a step back and look at the big picture, you can filter out things that may not be bad in and of themselves, but are ultimately insignificant to the areas that you feel called to. What we need to do is reduce unnecessary distractions and do our best to complete a few important tasks every day. Jack Canfield, the author, said this: know your priorities and identify the 5 powerful action steps that you intend to take to move your initiatives forward each and every day. If you go to a tree with an axe and take 5 whacks at the tree every day, it doesn't matter if it's an oak or a redwood. Eventually, the tree has to fall down. Someone said this: if you don't prioritize your life, someone else will. Once you establish priorities, next, start breaking it down into smaller pieces and manageable steps. We often overestimate what we can accomplish in a week and underestimate what we can accomplish in a year. Take some time to ask some important questions. What tasks will make the most impact? Do I need someone else's help? What are some things I can do quickly? Identify the progression of small steps that will take you from where you are to where you want or need to be. Let me just put this here. Don't underestimate the value and impact of incremental progress. Create baby steps that allow you to celebrate small wins and build momentum towards your goal. It's been said many times, but I'll reiterate it again this morning. The first step is always the hardest step. Someone said the secret to getting ahead is getting started. If you're starting at something that seems overwhelming, commit today to take one small step at a time. Vance Havner said this: the vision must be followed by the venture. It is not enough to stare up the steps. We must step up the stairs. Walt Disney said the way to get started is to quit talking and begin doing. Another important principle to remember is this: learn to celebrate progress, not just perfection. One of the great joys of being a parent is watching your children grow and develop. I always enjoy watching a child learn to walk. In fact, it's one of the big milestones in each of our lives. The first day we took our first step. Now, that first step is unsteady. We know that. They teeter back and forth and finally successfully move one foot in front of the other. The first step may be ever so small and unsteady, but we don't care. We get out the phones and we video it. We clap and celebrate the first step. Grandparents call everyone, and mama's posted on social media. Why? Because we are celebrating progress, not just perfection. I remember my mother telling me a story of when I was learning to walk. I never really did crawl. I was always a little off balance. But the doctor had told my mother, now listen, when he starts learning to walk and he falls, don't pick him up. Let him learn to get up by himself. That seems kind of an ancient thought, or maybe something that sounds a bit ridiculous, but in my case, my mother was extremely wise in letting me do what the doctor said I needed to do. And we know it because the first steps are generally followed by a fall. But no one remembers the fall. And no one tells the baby he or she will never learn to walk because they didn't execute it perfectly on their first try. Everyone is focused on the successful step. Why? Because it's a sign of growth and progress. Somewhere along the way, as adults, we lose the joy of progress. And we expect perfection, and we only celebrate when things are completed. If you're standing on a mountain today, commit to the next step. Commit your ways to the Lord. Let his strength overtake your weakness. The psalmist wrote, the steps of a good man are ordered of the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Submit it to God. Trust him to lead you. Do what you know to do, and trust God's grace to guide you in the areas that you don't know what to do. John Wooden said this: do not let what you cannot do interfere with what you can do. I'll leave you with the words of Karen Lamb. She said, a year from now, you may wish you had started today. Don't let fear have the last word today. God is with you. Take that step. May God bless you. We'll see you tomorrow morning right here on Morning Momentum.